So in this video, we're going to be going through 6 side hustle ideas for students that you can do from your laptop whilst you're at university or college and make over $1,000 a month. Whether you think you've got any skills or not, these are all things that you can learn to do over time, and the best things in life come with a little bit of work. So no more long hours in restaurants working as a waiter or trying to figure out how to make money doing match betting, which is what I tried to do. Now it's time to actually learn some genuinely useful skills that will serve you your whole life, and you can make money whilst doing so. If you're new here, my name is Tintin. I work full-time for a YouTuber called Ali Abdal, and on this channel I make videos for students about making money. And because I work in the creator economy, all 6 of these ideas are going to be things that relate to working with creators, because that is what I know about, and I'm not going to talk to you about ways to make money as a student that I haven't seen work myself. And for each of these 6, I'm going to call out someone who's actually doing this thing and making money doing this thing, in a lot of cases making a full-time income doing this thing. You can go and check out their Twitter account, follow them, and potentially learn something from them as well. So let's get straight into it. The first side hustle idea is being a thumbnail designer. So if you don't know, on YouTube, the pictures that appear that you click on to watch a video are called thumbnails. And because of this very simple fact that you cannot get a view on a YouTube video unless someone clicks on your thumbnail, people take titles and thumbnails really, really seriously. But designing thumbnails and being good at titles is actually a really hard thing to do. Titles are a little bit easier, and there's no point really outsourcing titles because they kind of summarize what the video is about, and it makes sense that you as a YouTuber can choose your own titles and just get better at that skill. But designing the thumbnails can actually be quite time consuming. So I actually currently make all of the thumbnails for Ali Abdal's channel. It's part of my job, and I do it using Canva and Photoshop. They're 2 softwares that are actually quite simple to use. Photoshop you do have to pay for. Canva is free, or it costs $10 a month. But being able to use just one of those things, I'd recommend getting started with Canva because it's very, very simple and it's definitely all you need to make good thumbnails. You can then just offer your services to YouTubers and help them make thumbnails. There's different levels of involvement as a thumbnail designer. So some YouTubers might actually want you to come meet them in person, help them take pictures, and then go away and actually edit the photos in Photoshop or Canva and then send over the final thumbnails to them. But in most cases, thumbnail design is actually a remote job. You can just do it from your laptop. Then you just get a whole bunch of pictures, like 10, 20, 100, and you go through them, you pick your favorite one, and you try and do something with it. Now, it's not that easy a skill. If you scroll back to the start of my channel, you can see like the first 50 videos that I made making terrible, terrible thumbnails. It's just quite hard, especially if you're like me and you don't have a natural eye for design. But just by making lots and lots of thumbnails at this point, I've got a lot better. And actually, if I lost my job right now and I had to make money somehow, I could definitely make money as a thumbnail designer by just emailing lots of YouTubers, sending lots of Twitter DMs, and applying to any thumbnail designer jobs that I saw, and also signing up to lots of freelance websites, advertising myself as a thumbnail designer for YouTubers. I would definitely be able to make some money. Depending on your experience and your skill level, you can definitely charge anywhere between like $30 and $100 an hour. The most expensive thumbnail designers will be charging hundreds of dollars per thumbnail. And the reason for that is because thumbnails are so damn important, because you can't get a view on your video if someone doesn't click on it. So it makes sense to put so much effort into the thing that most people are going to see, and to try and maximize the number of people that click on the video. Just an example of someone who's actually doing this is this guy called Alex Brewer, who's a thumbnail designer. He designs the thumbnails for the podcast Diary of a CEO, which also has a YouTube channel, and he's also advertising himself as a thumbnail designer on ytjobs.co, which is a place you can either look for thumbnail designers if you want to hire, or you can put yourself up as talent on the platform and promote yourself as a thumbnail designer. So go check out his Twitter account and have a look around. The second side hustle is ghostwriting on Twitter. Ghostwriting is where you write something for someone else and they publish it under their own name. For example, you could write a Twitter thread about how to grow a YouTube channel for me, and then you could send it to me, and I could then copy and paste it and post it on my Twitter account, and you would then have done some ghostwriting for me. I'm not saying that's what I want you to do, but that is an example. So it's a really simple thing. All you have to do is write tweets and Twitter threads for someone who wants to grow their audience on Twitter. And as a student, you're actually quite likely to be in touch with the kind of things that will work on social media and will work on Twitter. If you don't spend any time on Twitter, it doesn't matter, you can still get into it. You just have to start using the app and start following the right people. Example of someone who talks a lot about ghostwriting on Twitter is this guy called Dakota Robertson. I would definitely follow him. He has lots of insights and suggestions on how to make money as a ghostwriter, and then by just following his account, you'll learn so much. But essentially, the way to get into it is find some accounts where you think you could copy this kind of style that they do and write similar things to them, and then in your own time, write up some things that you think would be useful to them that you can then send to them, and in the message say, hey, I love your content. I'm trying to get into the ghostwriting game on Twitter. I've actually written 3 free tweet threads for you that you can use free of charge. And if you like them and end up using them, we can talk about doing some paid work. It really genuinely is that simple. If you do something valuable for someone and show them that you are skilled enough to help them out, then you can charge for your work. You can't expect people to just pay you up front if they don't know how good you are. And the trick to this is just to send lots of direct messages on Twitter to lots of creators who you think are trying to grow their audience and who also might have the money to pay for a ghostwriter. And the topics can be anything. Lots of people are trying to grow audiences across loads of different things on Twitter. It could be about sports, it could be about tech, it could be about about relationships, it could be about AI, it could be about business, it could be about study techniques. You've just got to find accounts that are trying to grow their audience and you can just offer to help them out. So the next side hustle idea is website design. So I wouldn't have initially suggested this because there is a bit of a learning curve to website design and you can't charge money for it without learning a few of the basic skills first. It's not like writing Twitter content where everyone can write and everyone could, in theory, do a good job. There's way more of a learning curve to website design. However, one of my best mates, Henry, actually learned to design websites in just a few months and he's now making some pretty decent cash from it. He's a few years out of university, so he's not a student anymore, but he decided to just learn to design websites using Webflow and he's now a full-time freelance website designer. Definitely follow him. And if you're interested in doing any kind of website design, send him a message on Twitter. He's an amazing dude. He'll definitely get back to you and he might be able to point you in the right direction for some good tutorials on how to learn the basics of Webflow or any kind of website design. But as soon as you have some basic web design skills, you can actually start charging $500, $1,000 plus per website. You just have to figure out a bit of a style, and also it's good if you can find a particular type of company or creator that you make websites for. So for example, you could just make websites only for plumbers, and that way you'd actually learn loads about how to make a good website for plumbers. And the knowledge that you build up would make it easier and easier over time, and you could just have a template website that you could kind of change a little bit depending on the client. But you can even learn to make websites using different softwares like Wix, Squarespace, or even things like Framer. I'll link all of these things down below. But lots of people who want websites don't have time to make websites or make good ones. And so if you can learn how to do it, then you can make some money. So the next side hustle idea is video editing. I've actually already made a video about this, how you can earn $1,000 a month as a student with video editing, which will be linked here and down below. And I walk through a 6-step process of how to actually find a client with video editing, because video editing is one of the most in-demand skills right now in the creator economy. There are so many TikTokers, Instagrammers, and mainly YouTubers who need a good video editor who can actually put stuff together. Now you might think you're not creative or you don't have time to learn the skills. Actually, if you just put in a few hours into figuring out the basic, you might realize that actually you're better than you think. A great person to follow on Twitter who's leading the space in the kind of YouTube editing game is this guy called Hayden Hillier-Smith. And definitely check out his podcast as well called The Editing Podcast with another host called Jordan Orm. They talk about the art of video editing, but they also talk about how to make money as a video editor in the creator economy. If you learn how to video edit in the next few months, I guarantee you will be able to make some side hustle money. There are just so many YouTubers who need some help. The 5th side hustle idea is script writing for YouTubers. Basically, there's 2 types of video on YouTube. There are ones that are scripted and there are ones that are not scripted. I'm talking right now with just a few notes on my phone, so this is unscripted. But if you watch a video from either Wendover Productions, Johnny Harris, or James Jarney, all of their videos are scripted basically word for word. And someone has had to write those scripts. They're really big channels and they've taken a lot of time into their scripts, but smaller YouTubers still need help writing simple scripts and doing simple research. And it could be that they just need someone to spend 8 hours going into a topic, collecting all the relevant notes, and then turning it into a kind of decent structure and a decent script that a YouTuber could then basically read off their phone or off their notes, or even using a teleprompter, and it saves them so much time. So my job is to help Ali make videos and help him write stuff, and we also outsource some of our writing to freelancers. The rates vary, but it's around a few $100s for a script. And some YouTubers would need lots of help, so they might want you to do like 16 hours, 2 full days worth of writing and researching. But some YouTubers might only want you to do 2 or 3. They just don't have time to do it all themselves. They just need some help collating information and writing a sensible script. In particular, the most useful thing that you can do is actually write the intro, or what lots of people call the hook. This is the first 30 seconds of a YouTube video that is so important, because if someone clicks off during those 30 seconds because they're bored, then you've lost a viewer. But if you can make that first 30 seconds really, really interesting, then you're more likely to have someone stay throughout the video. So an awesome Twitter account to follow to learn more about script writing and about working as a freelance scriptwriter is this guy called George Blackman. I follow him on Twitter. He's absolutely amazing. Definitely subscribe to his email newsletter. I'll link it down below. It's super, super cool. There's loads of really interesting stuff in his newsletter and on his Twitter account about how to make money as a freelance scriptwriter, but also how to write great scripts. He writes scripts for all sorts of YouTubers, some education ones, some business ones, some entertainment ones. It might even be worth sending him a message if you're interested in learning more about it. But the bottom line is YouTubers need help writing and planning scripts. And if you could somehow give a day or 2 of your student life to writing scripts, then you could definitely make at least $1,000 a month. And the final side hustle idea is just to be a personal assistant for a creator. So being a creator is actually quite difficult. There's lots of different things you need to do. As a YouTuber, I call myself a YouTuber at this point, you need to write videos, you need to come up with titles and thumbnails, you need to film the stuff, you need to edit the stuff, and you need to generally manage all your social platforms if you're trying to do that. Maybe you have an email newsletter, maybe you're trying to monetize in other ways and negotiate brand sponsorships and that kind of thing. It can be really, really useful just to have a personal assistant to help with all of that stuff and help with emails and just to outsource some of the boring admin stuff to someone else. If you're watching this video, you're probably a really competent student who can actually offer a very useful skill to creators creators. And the way to get this kind of work is just to send lots of cold emails and cold messages to creators saying, hey, I'd love to help you out as a personal assistant. I've got lots of free time as a student. I'm trying to make some money on the side. I'll be reliable, trustworthy, communicative, and just make yourself really, really useful to whoever it is that you want to help. Any of your favorite Instagrammers, TikTokers, YouTubers, it's worth just sending them a message saying, hey, is there any way I can help you out as a personal assistant? Give them a little bit of context for who you are and why you think you do a good job, and anything you can do to prove to them that you're not just some random person on the internet trying to steal their money. It was hard to find an example for this, but actually Elizabeth Phillips, who is a YouTuber, a few years ago was working for Ali as his personal assistant. She would just help him out with emails, scheduling stuff, and making sure that his life was in order. And it just came from her sending a message on Instagram. So across all of these 6 side hustle ideas, there's a few things that are really important that you might have picked up on. Twitter is where it's at. Get on Twitter and start messaging people that you want to work with. The second thing is you have to get over your fears of sending cold messages and cold emails. People do it all the time and lots of good things happen from them. And the third thing is the creator economy is growing. There are so many opportunities and so many different things that creators need. If you just try and learn one of these skills and get better at it and try and hone it over a period of time, you will be able to earn some money doing it to help you whilst you're in your student life. I really wish I'd known about these things when I was a student. So if there's anything else you want to know about, drop it in the comments. I'll try and make a video on it in the future. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.